So starting with the release series for our T-bands, knees and ankles together, hands behind the thighs, and just coming down nice and slow. Everybody's got a strap, so make sure that that's handy so that you can grab it. Then from here, let's just start by drawing both knees in towards the chest, interlacing our fingers, right thumb over top of left thumb, bringing the hands over the shins. Think shoulders away from ears and shoulders to the floor. Push into the feet as we gently draw the thighs in towards us. Think about squeezing your ankles and your knees together. I'm just going to do a little leg just for the video and then I'll get rid of it. I'm going to give you guys some height underneath the back of the skull. So if you want a little bit more of a stretch, think about squeezing your thighs to one another. Think about lengthening your pubic bone away from your belly button. Let's give you one more here.
Thank you.
Think about a sandwich underneath your sacrum, or the lowest part of your back, that you're squishing into the floor. I like to visualize I've got a little person doing handstands on the front of my shoulders, which roots my shoulders down into the floor. So instead of letting those shoulder heads pop up, really think about working the shoulder heads down towards the floor. Think about a seat or a bench being under your butt, and you want to sit your butt into that imaginary bench. And then keeping the interlacing, take the hands just over the right shin, let the left foot come onto the floor. So starting with the sole of that left foot on the earth to keep the hips level. So when we do this half wind remover pose, that right hip wants to come up towards the right armpit. So really think about keeping the hip bones equal distance from the armpits so the torso can be equal in length. Think about sitting the right butt down into a chair, and that will help to keep the sit bone and the hip from rising as we straighten out the left leg. Pushing into the soles of both feet, particularly watching that the big toe mound is as far away from you as the baby toe mound. So we're not having the big toe mound coming to us, but we're rooting the big toe mound away from us, and it almost feels like we're pulling the baby toe mound to us to get that connection. As usual, the shoulders go down to the floor and away from the ears. To get an openness through the chest, think about taking your back armpit and pulling it towards your front armpit. Left thigh and left calf are rooting down into the floor. See if you can close your eyes here and just focus on your breath a little bit. To get more of a stretch, visualize an imaginary block between your thighs that you're squeezing. So both legs squeeze into the center line of the body. You're karate chopping the forearms towards the end of the mat. Two more breaths here. And then having the right hand on the right knee, left hand comes to the left hip, left thigh area. Use your left hand to push into the left hip, left thigh, and nothing moves except for the right leg. So don't allow that left hip or left thigh to shift in any way as we start to take the right leg or right knee out to the right. Pelvis doesn't move. Visualizing a seat underneath your right buttock, and you're sitting your right butt into that seat. Active legs. Breath is still completely under your control. For more of a stretch, we think about lengthening from inner groin to inner knee. Imagine both feet are standing on an imaginary floor, and keep your big toe mounds and your baby toe mounds level. Watching the left leg isn't going out to the left side, but keep the left ankle, knee, and hip in a perfectly straight line. So here you can straighten out that left leg if you like, but if that feels too intense, you can bend it again. If you wanted less of a stretch, you could put the sole of the left foot on the floor. And then nice and slow, let's bring that right leg back to center, interlacing our fingers, still right thumb on top. Think about sitting the right butt into a chair as we release that stretch again with the half wind remover pose. Just going for a short hold here. And then left hand stays on the right knee. Right hand comes outside that right hip. A strong connection of sitting the right sit bone into a chair as we take the right leg over the left leg. We don't allow that left leg to change at all. We keep the left leg exactly as it is, and we keep the left sacrum, left butt from lifting. Imagine you're standing on an imaginary floor with both feet. To get more of a stretch, think about taking the front thigh towards the back thigh. Now we'll get a little bit deeper into the outer thigh. Belly button draws towards the floor. Keep the openness of the chest by lifting your mid-back into your sternum, but we're not creating a back bend here. We keep the rib cage pushing into the floor, but we think about lifting the heart up into the sternum. We can take it a little bit deeper if we want to. We can stay here if this is already enough, but don't let the left leg move. Keep the left leg with the toes and the knees pointing straight up at the ceiling, and allow the right butt, right sacrum to lift as we take that right leg a little bit more over the left leg. Listen to your body. If at any point that's too much, just bring your sacrum back down to the floor. Watch that that left thigh is not externally rotating, and we're staying right on the center of that left heel. So here, Keith, you feel how your knees and your toes are going out that way, so really think about bringing it back a little bit. There we go. You can feel that that gets a little deeper into the groin when you create that resistance. Big toe mounds, baby toe mounds level, so root the big toe mound forward, and it feels like you're pulling the baby toe mound back to you a little bit. Two more breaths here. And then nice and slow, bring that leg back to neutral. Again, interlacing your fingers, right thumb on top, over the shin, and let's bring it into half wind remover, just to release. And then letting your fingers go, let the sole of the right foot come onto the floor. Make sure the hips are level. And then draw the left thigh in towards us. Interlacing our fingers, this time the left thumb on top of the right, hand comes over the shins. Push into both feet and concentrate on those level hips as we draw the left thigh in towards us. Think about sitting your left sit bone into an imaginary chair or stool as we start to straighten out the right leg to avoid the pelvis from shifting in any way. Work the right thigh, particularly the inner right thigh, down towards the floor. Make sure the toe mounds are level on both feet, and then if you want to deepen the stretch, think about squeezing a block between your thighs. If at any point that's too intense, you can always bend the right knee, placing the sole of the right foot onto the floor. So talking a little bit about the standing leg or the extended leg, the right leg, we want the inner right thigh to go down towards the floor without the leg rotating. So we stay right on the center of the heel, the toes and the knees are pointing straight up, but energetically Vertically, we take the inner right thigh and right groin to the floor, and we take the outer right thigh up towards the ceiling. Imagine you're pushing the sole of that foot into the floor and lengthen the calf on that right leg towards the heel. Taking the left hand onto the left knee, right hand comes onto that right hip pelvis area, making sure that there's no movement there. The only thing moving is the left leg. Sit your left butt into a chair as we slowly take that left leg out to the left side. There should be as much weight in the right shoulder as there is the left shoulder. Same goes for the rib cage. Don't allow your weight to move to the left side of the body. Keep it balanced by pushing the right leg, right butt, right hip, right waist, right rib cage, right shoulder, right arm down into the floor. Lengthen from inner groin to inner knee and see if you can get that leg to open up a little bit wider. Front thigh to back thigh on both legs. Lifting your heart up into your sternum. Keep sitting the left butt into an imaginary chair and keep working the front left thigh to the back left thigh. As if the chair came right underneath the thigh and you were trying to push your thigh bone into that imaginary chair. Close your eyes and really focus on where you feel maximum sensation of stretch. As you breathe, really visualize yourself sending blood and oxygen into that area. And then nice and slow, let's bring that left leg back up to center, interlacing your fingers, this time left thumb, left index, left middle, left ring, left pinky on top. We take the hand over the shin. We keep the ankle, the knee, and the hip of the left leg in a straight line, and we draw that left thigh into us as we sit the left butt into an imaginary chair. Back armpit lifts to front armpit. Heart lifts to sternum, maintaining a natural cervical curve of the neck. And then taking the right hand on the left knee, left hand comes beside you. Keep sitting the left butt into a chair as we start to take the left leg over the right. There should be no movement of that right leg. The habit is that we want to externally rotate that leg, but don't. Think about the inner right thigh, inner right knee going to the floor, standing both feet onto imaginary floors. Again, just concentrating on the stretch as we breathe. Left sacrum, left butt does not lift in the first stage of this pose. Keep on breathing. Here you can choose to stay exactly as you are, or you can go deeper, remembering that we want to mimic the two sides so we don't go deeper on one side and not the other. And then nice and slow, we let the sacrum start to lift, but not if the right leg starts to externally rotate. We have to stay right on the center of the right heel with the right knee pointing straight up towards the ceiling as we take the left leg over the right thigh. Remembering that the weight is even in the shoulders, so you've got to push the left shoulder onto the floor. The left rib cage may lift a little bit, and that's okay. But keep both shoulders rooting evenly. Take the big toe mound away from you and pull the baby toe mound to you on both feet. Belly pulling in. And then nice and slow, let's bring that left leg back to center, interlacing our fingers. Again, left thumb, left index on top, right up to the webbing. Hand comes over the shin, and just pull that left leg into the body for half wind remover on this side. For a deeper stretch, we sit the left butt into a chair. We visualize a block between both thighs that we're squeezing. And then releasing, let that left foot come onto the floor. Let's bend the right knee. Allow the soles of the feet to come together and the knees to come apart as we come into cobbler pose or Supta Baddha Konasana. Again, neutral pelvis so that the hip bones and the pubic bones